We went 3-1 in our premium selections yesterday on patreon.com/rock page. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website. Link for that site's in the description section below. That's patreon.com/rock page. The Hornets take on the Pistons tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that matchup. Detroit's minus 7.5, total 213 and a hook. We saw a 1.5 point fade of Detroit and moving downward on the total. The Pistons open 9, down to 7.5. Total open 214, down to 213 and a hook. 53% are leaning Pistons, 54% shaded toward the over. Right now, Charlotte's plus 255 on the money line. Now, the Hornets have successfully covered the number in 2 out of their last 3, and they actually beat this very Detroit squad on Wednesday, 102-101. They beat them outright. Now, Devontae Graham's averaging 18 points a game this year, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. Terry Rozier, 17 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for him. Now, Detroit on the other side, losers in 7 out of their last 9. They've won just 6 out of 8. They've covered just 6 out of 18 games overall for the year. Not a very good covering team. They rank in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 3 in offensive rebounding. When it comes to the total, Charlotte is 60% to the over when traveling, 4-2 to the over in their last 6 at any location. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Charlotte plus 8 in the over 213.5 in that game. Next matchup, Raptors taking on the Magic, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Orlando. Toronto's minus 3.5 on the road, total 207 and a hook. Saw a half a point move toward Toronto and movement upward on the total. The Raptors open minus 3, up to 3.5. Total open 206, up to 207.5. 64% are leaning Toronto, 70% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Magic are plus 155 on the money line. The Magic have also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8 games. They're 1-3 straight up in their last 4 as well. They're covering just 33% of their games at home this year, and they've covered just 6 out of their 17 games overall for the season. The Magic rank in the bottom 3 in scoring, bottom 3 in offensive field goal percentage. Meanwhile, the Raptors on the other side, they're right in the middle of a 5-game winning streak. They're 4-1 against the spread in those 5 victories. Pascal Siakam's averaging 26 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. And Freddie VanVleet, 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals on average per game for Freddie. The Raptors are 13-4 straight up on the year, 11-6 against the spread in those games. They rank in the top 10 in scoring, top 3 in offensive three-point percentage. Now, total-wise, Toronto's 5-2 to the over in their last 7. Orlando's 80% to the over in their last 10 themselves. A lot of overs between these two teams. I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take Toronto minus 3 and the over 207.5 in that game. Next matchup, Bucks, Cavs, 7:30 Cleveland. The Bucks are minus 11, total 229. So a half a point move toward Milwaukee and movement downward on the total. The Bucks open 10.5 up to minus 11. Total open 229.5 down to 229 even. 66% are leaning Milwaukee, 54% shaded toward the over. Right now, Cleveland is plus 570 on the money line. Now, the Cavs have dropped 8 out of their last 9 games. They're also just 1-7 against the spread in their last 8. They rank in the bottom 3 in scoring, bottom 10 in offensive rebounding. Cleveland's also just 5-13 straight up on the year, 7-11 against the spread in those 18 games. They also rank in the bottom 3 in defensive field goal percentage. Now, the Bucks are right in the middle of a 9-game winning streak. Hottest team in the NBA right now. They're 15-3 straight up overall for the year. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 31 points a game, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Middleton, he's averaging 18 points a game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists as well. Milwaukee's 8-2 on the road this year, top 3 in scoring, top 3 in offensive rebounding. Corver and Brown are out. Hill is probable. And when it comes to this total, Milwaukee, 2 out of their last 3 did stay under the total. They're also 60% to the under when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the Bucks minus 11 and the under 229 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Friday's NBA action. Happy Friday. Happy Black Friday. Don't get killed out there. Now, and if you are to record a fight, please make sure you do us all a favor and turn it sideways. Turn it horizontal. All right, anyway, before we go ahead and move on, like I said, just want to take a quick time out and remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily premium selections on that site beginning at just $1.99 per month. Now, we went 3-1 in our premium selections yesterday on that site, good for 75% on the day. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website. And at the end of this program here today, I'm going to explain to you the difference between what we do here on YouTube and the Patreon page. You can also check out my current record for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. It's right on the homepage. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, guys, let's go ahead and get into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Sixers taking on the Knicks. 7:30 Eastern tip-off in New York. The Sixers are minus 6.5, totals 209. We saw a 1-point fade of Philadelphia and movement downward on the total. The Sixers open 7.5, down to minus 6.5. Total open 210, down to 209. 68% are leaning Philadelphia, 72% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Knicks are plus 235 on the money line. The Knicks are also 3-2 against the spread in their last 5. They rank in the top 10 in three-point percentage. They're led by Marcus Morris, who's averaging 19 points a game, 6 rebounds. Julius Randle also is averaging 16 points a game, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. The Knicks rank in the top 10 in home offensive rebounding, top 10 in home defensive rebounding as well. Meanwhile, the Sixers on the other side failed to cover in their last couple of games. They're also covering just 30% of their games in their last 10. Al Horford and O'Quinn are out for tonight's action. Richardson and Simmons are listed as questionable as well. The Sixers rank in the bottom 3 from the stripe, bottom 10 in road defensive field goal percentage as well. When it comes to the total, the Knicks are 60% to the over in their last 5. I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it up, and lean toward the home dog in this one. Give me the Knicks plus 7 and the over 209 in that matchup. Next game, Jazz taking on the Grizzlies. That'll be an 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Memphis. The Jazz are minus 7.5, total at 220. We saw a 1.5-point move toward Utah and movement upward on the total. The Jazz opened 6, up to 7.5. Total opened 218, up to 220. 52% are leaning Utah, 58% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Grizzlies are plus 280 on the money line. Now, Memphis has successfully covered the number in 2 out of their last 3. They're also 5-3 against the number in their last 8. John Morant's averaging 19 points a game, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. Jaren Jackson, 15 points a game, 5 rebounds for him. This Memphis squad ranks 12th in offensive field goal percentage, 15th in defensive rebounding. Meanwhile, the Jazz on the other side, they failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8. They're covering just 33% of their games on the road. They rank at the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 10 in offensive rebounding at home. When it comes to this total, Utah's 4-0 to the over in their last 4. Memphis 2-0 to the over in their last couple of games themselves. I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, slide it up, and lean toward another home dog. Give me Memphis plus 8 and the over 220 in that matchup. Next game, Atlanta Hawks taking on the Pacers. 8 o'clock, Indiana. The Pacers are minus 10, total 224. Saw a 1-point move toward Indiana and movement downward on the total. The Pacers open as the 9-point favorite, now minus 10. Total open 226, down to 224. 54% are leaning Pacers, 60% shaded toward the over. Right now, Atlanta's plus 475 on the money line. Atlanta's just 4-14 straight up on the year. They've also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8. Collins and Herter are out. They're also covering just 33% of their games when traveling this year. A couple more things to add about Atlanta. They're right in the middle of a 8-game losing streak. They rank in the bottom 3 in three-point percentage, bottom 10 in offensive rebounding. Now the Pacers on the other side, they actually rank in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage, top 3 from the stripe. Malcolm Brogdon's averaging 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. Domantas Sabonis, 19 points a game, 13 rebounds, 4 assists for him. The Pacers have won their last 4 straight. They also rank in the top 5 in points allowed. Total-wise, Indiana's 9-8 to the under overall for the year. I'm going to lean Pacers laying the double digits. That's right, Indiana minus 10, under 224 in that game. Next matchup, Warriors, Heat, 8 o'clock, Miami. The Heat are minus 12, totals 210. We saw a 0.5 point fade of Miami and a 3-point move downward on the total. The Heat opened 12.5, down to minus 12. Total open 213, down to 210. 63% are leaning Miami. 66% shaded toward the over. Right now, Golden State's plus 570 on the money line. Golden State's also just 4-15 overall for the year. Losers in 8 out of their last 10. Curry, Thompson, Russell, and Lee are out. They rank at the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 5 in field goal percentage, bottom 5 in points allowed. Now, Miami on the other side, they've successfully covered the number in 7 out of their last 9. They're also 13-4 against the spread overall for the year, 7-0 straight up and against the number at home. Jimmy Butler's averaging 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals. He's just been upgraded to probable, so we should see him in tonight's action. Kendrick Nunn, 17 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists for him. Waiters and Jones are out. Miami ranks at the top 3 in field goal percentage, top 3 in defensive rebounding. When it comes to this total, 3 out of Miami's last 5 did get over the total. They're also 4-3 to the over at home. Golden State on the other side, 60% to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the Heat, minus 12 in the over, 210 in that matchup. Next game, Pelicans, Thunder, 8 o'clock OKC. The Thunder are minus 4, total 229. So a half a point fade of OKC and movement upward on the total. Thunder open 4.5 down to minus 4. Total open 227 up to 229. 54% are leaning Pels, 60% shaded toward the over. Right now, New Orleans is plus $1.55 on the money line. New Orleans is also just 6-12 straight up on the year. They're covering just 33% of their games away from home. They rank in the bottom 3 in points allowed, bottom 10 in defensive rebounding. Favors and Ball are out, and of course, Zion Williamson still out indefinitely. Now, OKC on the other side, they've successfully covered the number in 5 out of their last 8. They're also covering 67% of their games at home. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's averaging 19 points a game, 5 rebounds. Danilo Gallinari, 18 points a game, 5 rebounds for him. They rank in the top 10 from the stripe, top 5 in home offensive field goal percentage. And total-wise, OKC is 4-2 to the over in their last 6. The Pels are 75% to the over in their last 4. They're also 67% to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward OKC, minus 4 in the over, 229 in that matchup. Next game, Clippers, Spurs, 8:30 San Antonio. The Clippers are minus 6 on the road, total 225.5. We saw a 1.5 point move toward Los Angeles and movement downward on the total. The Clippers open 4.5 up to minus 6. Total open 226 down to 225 and a hook. 59% are leaning Clippers, 54% shaded toward the over. Right now, San Antonio's plus 220 on the money line. San Antonio is just 6-13 on the year, 4-15 against the spread in those 19 games. I believe that's good for worst covering team in the NBA. They rank in the bottom 10 in points allowed, bottom 5 in defensive field goal percentage. Patty Mills is listed as questionable as well. That's more bad news for the Spurs. Now, Clippers on the other side, they're right in the middle of a 7-game winning streak. They rank in the top 10 in scoring, top 3 in offensive rebounding. Kawhi Leonard's averaging 26 points a game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Paul George is also averaging 25 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals as well. This Clipper squad ranks at the top 3 in defensive field goal percentage. Now, if you're a fantasy guy, just keep in mind Magruder and Shamet are still out. And when it comes to this total, Clippers 5-3 to the over in their last 8. San Antonio 60% to the over at home. I'm going to lean Clippers minus 6 in the over, 225.5 in that game. Next matchup, Mavericks taking on the Suns. And that is going to be a 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Phoenix. Now, we did see a good old-fashioned flip of the lines in this one. Right now, Dallas is minus 2, totals at 231.5. But the Mavs opened up as the 1-point dog in this one, so we did see a 3-point move toward Dallas. We also saw a half a point move downward on this total as well. So once again, Dallas open plus 1, now minus 2, total open 232, down to 231.5. 71% are leaning Dallas, 71% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Suns are plus 120 on the money line. I love the Suns at home here, catching points. Give me Phoenix plus 2 and the over 231.5 in that game. Next matchup, Bulls, Blazers, 10 o'clock Portland. The Blazers are the 8-point favorite in this game. Totals at 226. We did see a half a point move toward Portland and movement upward on the total. The Blazers open 7.5 up to minus 8. Total open 225.5 up to 226. 61% are leaning Portland, 63% shaded toward the over. Right now, Chicago's plus $3 on the money line. I do like Chicago catching points in this spot here. I'm going to lean Chicago Bulls plus 8 and the over 226 in that game. And we're going to slide into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Wizards-Lakers, 10:30 Los Angeles. The Lakers are minus 11.5, total 235 and a hook. But we did see a 1.5 point fade of LA in the early wagering. We also saw movement upward on the total. The Lakers opened 13, down to minus 11.5. Total opened 234, up to 235 and a hook. 60% are leaning Lakers, 52% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Wizards are plus 540 on the money line. I like another underdog in this one, guys. We're not chalky today. I'm going to lean Washington plus 12 after buying the hook and the over 235.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we went 3-1 in our premium selections on that website yesterday. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website. I like Washington plus 12 over 235.5, Chicago plus 8 over 226, Phoenix plus 2 over 231.5, Clippers minus 6 over 225 and a hook, Memphis plus 8 over 220, OKC minus 4 over 229, Miami minus 12 over 210, Indiana minus 10 under 224, the Knicks plus 7 over 209, Milwaukee minus 11 under 229, Toronto minus 3 over 207 and a hook, and last but certainly not least, I like Charlotte plus 8 and the over 213.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs, once again brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where once again we went 3-1 in our premium selections on that website yesterday. Shout out to Ronnie Christie, Raymond Gonzalez, Mauricio Gradberry, Mike Wilkerson. Shout out to K9, Creamy Caramel, Todd Zickel, Joe Me the Money, the most humble beast, Rick Messina, Maverick Monroe, Ed Palikis, and last but certainly not least, shout out to Lucas Hill. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage. A lot of folks who ask me, what's the difference between what you do here on YouTube and your Patreon page? And that's a great question, a very valid question. What I tell them is this. What we do here on YouTube is we handicap every single game on the board, both the side and the total. And of course, if you were to bet your hard-earned money on every single game, side and total, you're guaranteed to lose your money in the long run. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to end up losing it in the short run as well. The books are too smart. They're too sharp. The math is always against you. It's a really expensive hobby as well. So what we do on Patreon is we really nail it down and kind of dial in and focus on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're personal selections of mine, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current record on Patreon is a lot better than it is on YouTube. And you can check out that current record for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and do our picks in Spanish, or as what I like to call it, the edición en Español. Yo tengo Washington con puntos y las altas, Chicago con puntos y las altas, Phoenix con puntos y las altas, Clippers menos 6 y las altas, Memphis con puntos y las altas, OKC menos 4 y las altas, Miami menos 12 y las altas, Indiana menos 10 y los bajos, Nueva York con puntos y las altas, Milwaukee menos 11 y los bajos, Toronto menos 3 y las altas, y final Charlotte con puntos y las altas. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you on patreon.com/BrockPage.